Welcome back to Talkers on the Wall.
Hey,
We got Joker 2, A Folie Ado, whatever you want to call it. And
Joker, more like shitter. That movie fucking sucks.
good
That's
one.
probably the best. Like compared to what that movie gave, that joke probably clears that movie.
I don't know the one he's talking. Spoiler warnings, by the way.
Yeah.
When he's like, yeah, my abusive, my mom's always in
Oh,
the abusive. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. It beats me. It's
Mm,
like,
that's a good one.
yeah, I won't lie. He's like, damn. And then they fucking raped him.
Oh, fucking true.
But we're
That's
gonna
like
get to that.
where this is all
Yeah.
foreshadowing. Spoiler alert, by the way, for Joker shitter too.
Yeah. We're gonna start out with actually, let's get some backgrounds because a lot of people could be coming at us like, you just don't understand musicals. You don't like
Hey
musicals.
man, I love musicals.
We're
Yeah.
big musical guys. Like we're obsessed with like Broadway. Like we keep in touch with it, and just like cinema musicals too.
Yeah.
We know when good musicals are done, and we know when really bad ones are done.
True.
Like once I really heard that they were gonna do a musical, I was like, okay, I can see the vision. It
Right.
just has to be executed very well. Because for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I'll always like give the benefit of the doubt to like creators who take that like artistic risk.
Yeah, and it was like a cool idea too, and like the way they played it out with it being his like delusions and stuff was cool. That's kind of what I assumed was gonna happen with it. But for one thing, I think they really limit themselves to the type of music they do because it's all like really old, kind of like it felt like '60s music to me.
Like Frank Sinatra type.
Right. Not that it's bad, but it just really limited like their choice of songs. Also, I don't think that they had any original music in the movie at all, which it probably could have benefited from. Maybe it wasn't exactly what they were going for, but I feel like if they were able to actually just like make them sing the words they wanted to instead of having to like, kind of be messy with these other lyrics from other songs, it could have made a lot more sense. But the biggest issue for me with the musical scenes were that they were just kind of out of nowhere, or they didn't add anything to the plot.
It's just blow. It's
Yeah,
literally like, how do we like normally like musicals, like a good musical will connect the
yeah.
story to transition it
Like the
like
story will progress through the
yeah,
music.
like well, I'm thinking like the Broadway version of Dear Evan Hansen, it
Yeah,
literally leads to how like Evan feels like at this certain moment. Like I get it's very like watered down to what Arthur feels at the moment. And I really think the only serviceable music scene is when he's just like shooting people like at
yeah,
the court. That's me being very generous.
yeah,
And also too with the music, I know that it felt like they're kind of scared that they had Lady Gaga, like, and they didn't want to like have her like go,
underutilized.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like, let actually just like Gaga do her thing. Like, just she doesn't have to be in these old timey bands. Like,
yeah.
let her like do like a ballad on her own, like, with like her own like style, like her own creativity. Like Lady
Right.
Gaga's not like, and also like a little bit more of a rant with Gaga. Like, I was
Fuck
thinking
you know
about,
about
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you can communicate the product, you can
You
make
can make
money.
money off the product. And I like some of the Gaga songs.
Fuck, you know about can no, but she's a really good actor. Like,
Yeah,
and they just were like, yeah, you can just do music, and then we can like cast you to the side, and like
yeah.
it's
It was
just
like 80% of her like performance in the movie was just her being in these like fantasy musicals. And like the other 20%, she was giving like great performances. I was thinking this during the movie too, that if they had just cut out every musical piece that they did, it would have been a really serviceable movie. Probably only would have been like an hour and a half. And like, because it's so much blow. And it goes on for such a long time sometimes. And like you said, the serviceable one is where he's in court and he's just going crazy and like shooting people. It's like just showing his psychotic side. But
yeah,
also, another big point about it is that most of these musical numbers are just not entertaining. Like,
yeah.
that was the only one that actually like held my interest. Every other one, either the music was lame, the choreography was so bad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is a big part too. They didn't progress the plot, and it just was not entertaining.
No, pretty much. I think we're gonna agree with almost like everything about this movie.
Yeah.
It like the music itself made it super bloated. I guess we were supposed to be talking about good moments before, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, to be
that,
fair, I feel like we want to end off
yeah,
almost on like a positive note,
yeah.
so we don't end it off so bitter, maybe. But even still, like trying to.
I'm sorry to cut you
Oh,
off.
you're good.
Yeah,
Good.
I got my train of thought back. Also, with good storytelling, pacing is a big thing.
Mm,
The fact that Joker and Harley were like together that quick,
yeah.
it just felt so like I don't buy this at all. I don't like buy anything about this movie.
Yeah.
Like you see Harley in distress. I don't give a shit about Harley Quinn, and I see Arthur in distress, and I don't give a shit about even Arthur Quinn or Arthur
Arthur
Fleck.
Fleck. Yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
uh, in this movie at all.
No, it like I don't know what it was, but a lot of the also like every other character in this movie, I like you really just couldn't really even care about. None of the security guards were like interesting. They were just there to be there. Like none of the other like prisoners had any personality really. Like the only ones who could really have personality, I would say, is maybe his lawyer gave something, um, and then Gary during the interview trial he gave a
Yeah.
lot too.
Yep.
But other than that, like all the characters were so flat to me. Like there was a good moment where I probably could have fallen asleep in the theater. Like it was pretty bad.
Mhm.
Um, and like going back to pacing too. If you haven't seen the movie, the way they do most of their musicals is they'll just have a scene, like smash cut to a musical thing, and then smash cut back to the actual movie. So it's almost like you're watching commercials while you're watching the actual movie.
Yeah, it's extremely choppy. It's not cohesive at all.
No.
Which, like, as a music enjoyer, like I like if an album's cohesive, that's cool. But a movie has to be cohesive. Like, it's not like an option with an album. The movie has to be cohesive, or else it feels extremely choppy. Your pacing is gonna be either too slow or too fast,
Hmm.
and like nothing's gonna mesh. Like I don't know why they couldn't just understand that we can just maybe minimalize like the music to like help guide through, like
Hmm.
be like a little like 5 minute window where like I don't know, even do like a like kind of like a prison break,
Yeah.
or like honestly, because when they have like the car bomb that goes into the courtroom,
Yeah.
how about you have that like literally like have that as a musical number? The car bomb comes in, and then it's literally Arthur like reflecting on how he's like concussed and like
Yeah.
how far he's gonna go and like how he's running away from like the Joker fantasy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would drive a lot more emotion with the song. Like if you want to have music, put it in the most emotional parts and really buy into it. Don't have it as just empty calories in a
Right.
movie.
It's just like it also reminded me of just like Family Guy cutaway like gags,
Yeah.
like whenever they would do it too. And like there was a few moments too where you are just kind of listening or watching this movie, and they're just having a conversation, and then like the characters themselves will actually sing a little bit, and every time that happens, you just groan because they're giving good dialogue, they're giving great performances. Like I think one of the first times that it happened, it was during the interview
Yeah.
scene when
Terrible.
Arthur Fleck is still in the prison, and like
Mhm.
this thing is getting tense. Like they're really like feeding off of each other really well,
Yep.
and he hits Arthur with this like hard banger question. He's like, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was basically whether or not, or he asked how he had changed,
Mhm.
and you're waiting for this answer, and then he just starts singing, and you're like, oh my god, bro, why? Like the scene was so good.
Yeah, that like I literally looked to you in the theater and I said, "Damn, they really ruined a top tier scene."
Yeah.
Because I don't want this to be like we're shitting on the actors at all.
No.
Because the actors, I don't think there was one bad acting performance.
No, Lady Gaga gave an incredible performance still.
Yep.
Joaquin still gave an incredible performance, even if the movie was shit. Like,
Yeah.
that was one thing you couldn't say about the movie is that the acting wasn't, like,
They're
believable
pretty much
or.
like the Bugatti, like in the trailer park meme.
Yeah,
If that,
exactly. No, that is a very apt metaphor. Like, I don't even know. Like, what was, like. the most egregious moment for you?
Oof, agree. Honestly, it'd probably be the interview.
Yeah,
Oh, actually, the ending.
that was pretty bad too.
The ending was really bad, but I was so just like the ending is kind of like when you're watching a bad movie
Hmm.
and you're just like kind of enjoying the fact that it's so like you can laugh at it,
And then
and
it's almost over.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that was like the cherry on top. It's like damn.
No, and because I remember too, you asking me probably only we were only like halfway through the movie. You're like, "Does this ruin the first Joker?" And at the time, I was like, "No, I don't think so." But at the end, like the ending of the movie, I was like, "Oh yeah, this kind of ruins the first Joker with this ending." It was so bad in my opinion. Like I don't know why they did that to his character.
Yeah.
Like him just kind of giving up at the very end. Like I get he's going through like a bunch of like trauma and pain and
Hmm.
stuff, but I don't know. It was just like not what I was expecting and certainly not what I had hoped for. Like when he goes into the courtroom and he's like, I was gonna come in here as Joker and give a big angry speech. I was like, yeah, that's what I fucking came here for, not for like this. Like
Hmm.
why? Like they called the movie Joker, but it's really Joker's not even in the movie. It's just Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
And you didn't watch the first movie for Arthur Fleck. You watched the first movie to see Arthur Fleck become the Joker, not the other way around. So I don't know why they went with this route.
No, I mean, like, I know like there's some talks about how Todd Phillips hated like how Joker was like idolized,
Mm,
which and then he would kind of like want to like deconstruct the character so he wasn't such like a like the best example I could do like I don't think he wanted like people like idolizing like a killer like how people were like
right.
idolizing like Dahmer like
Yeah.
going as like Halloween and all that. Um,
Yeah, and like it was a big phenomenon too at the time when Joker came out because like everybody was like, oh, like this movie is a bad influence on the young, and like it's showing people that it's like not that bad to kill people and be violent and stuff.
mhm.
And so I remember too coming out of the theater, I said I feel like they made this movie so bad so people wouldn't like it on purpose, so
Yeah,
that the phenomenon wouldn't happen again, which is really unfortunate. Just because like I get Todd Phillips not wanting people to idolize the Joker, but like in a real world, normal people aren't gonna actually idolize the Joker. Only like
or
psychos and like incels basically will
or
idolize the Joker.
or literally just let time move on from the movie.
Yeah,
Like it brings more attention to the Joker character and it's going to make more people watch Joker 1.
yeah,
Like just let time roll out. Like if Joker 2 wouldn't have happened, you can appreciate what Joker 1 was and then just move on.
yeah,
It like Joker 1 is great. It's not like a cult classic where like everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, like you haven't seen like Joker yet?" Like,
yeah.
"Oh," and I might be like ignorant on that, but like
No, it was a good movie at the time, but it wasn't like it didn't become like an instant classic. Like I haven't watched it since it came
I
out.
guess Joaquin did win the Oscar for it, but
Yeah, but I mean, not every Oscar
yeah,
winner's movie is like a cult classic either. Like, you know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but when Leonardo DiCaprio he got an Oscar
Revenant,
for The
yeah.
Revenant, but I wouldn't call that a classic.
Yeah, that
Um,
in my opinion, that not to go on a tangent, that was a pity Oscar.
yeah,
They
yeah.
they fucked them over too many times,
They're
and you
like,
know what? You know
we'll just
we'll
give
give it to you
he
for
he
your
crawled into a
worst.
dead horse. That shit was real. We'll just give it to him.
Yeah,
But yeah, not to get too far off on that. But yeah, like honestly, too, the second movie, like you said, it really just didn't need to be made.
no,
They really should have just left it as it was. Like they, it does feel like a cash grab, but also like Todd Phillips was trying to set the record straight that he, at least himself, doesn't idolize the Joker because maybe he was like getting bad press that he like made this Joker character a sympathetic figure. Um,
but why give them the money though?
yeah, I
Unless
don't
they
know.
literally told them straight up, "Hey, we're gonna give you this like fuckload of money.
Hmm.
Just make a movie that deconstructs everything you built in the first one."
Yeah, I don't get it either. And it's like people really like the first Joker because I mean Joker's always like crazy and a bad guy. It just gave him like complexity and like a little bit of sympathy, like to
Yeah,
see him before he was the Joker. But nobody is like really being like, yeah, the Joker is the good guy in this situation. I don't think anybody ever thought that.
yeah,
They just He's just a complex character,
That's
which
just good storytelling.
right, yeah, and this iteration of Joker is, I mean, he's mentally ill, everything like that. So it's a very like complex thing, and it doesn't mean that he's in the right or that he's a good guy either. You're just watching it for a story. So,
And I would say what works so well for Joker 1, kind of the same thing that's working for Penguin and the Batman,
hmm
is the world is so grounded.
yeah,
Like in Joker 1 when he kills like I think he's like up to 5, like every kill like felt like damn,
yeah,
he just shot that guy like
it felt real.
yeah. And when he really just like becomes the Joker like in like the bathroom after
Yeah.
and he's like kind of like at peace with killing those people.
hmm
And
And
but
like when he's even just like dancing down the stairs, you can
yeah,
really see like the depravity of his like insanity.
but like that's kind of again to my point with Joker 2. It doesn't feel grounded at all.
Yeah,
It feels so much more than what it is in the worst ways possible.
yeah. It like the first Joker had like delusions. Obviously, like a big part of that was that his girlfriend wasn't real.
Yeah.
But it was still like grounded, and it still like felt real when that reveal was made. In Joker 2, all of these fantasies and delusions, like you're basically seeing every daydream he has,
Yeah.
and it really just sucks you out of the reality of the story too. Because like for one thing too, you never know when something's like real and when it's just him like fantasizing. Like the biggest indication you have is when they literally do a smash cut to a huge musical number.
Mhm.
But like other times too, you're like, is this like actually happening or not? Which can work, but in this movie, I didn't think it did. Also a big thing too is that like this isn't like a negative or a positive for the movie, but yeah, like that prison guard scene too, that was really weird. Like just
That is so
it was so like out of nowhere too.
like why even like if you wanted to like deliver that scene on why
Yeah,
like the only reason why I could see it is that the prisoners were because the Joker just wanted to rant on live TV
right,
and everyone was praising his name and they wanted like to humiliate him.
right.
But what the
That
fuck?
like came out like I thought they were just gonna beat his ass, and then
Yeah,
like
they beat his ass.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
like they fucking raped him, or is that
yeah.
that's what it alluded to? I was like, holy shit, where the fuck did that come from?
I think we can safely say it's an implied rape scene.
Yeah, I have no idea for sure. Maybe it's like yeah, but yeah, that's what I got from it. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, that was just like another weird thing that they added into the movie, and I didn't really get why. Like, they could have just had them like beat him up. I guess I don't know why they like normally when they like do something like that to like humiliate a character, there's some sort of purpose behind it. But I don't know.
It felt like nothing really had a purpose behind it in this movie.
Yeah,
And also too, like really like a big part of this market is Harley Quinn, but as the fundamentals of this story, she really has nothing to do with it.
yeah.
Like, like they just force her in scenes. What, like, what would Harley Quinn affect the trial for?
She didn't really do anything.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say like some people might say she influenced Arthur to like fire his lawyer or whatever.
yeah,
But I feel like he might have. I don't know. It like because she definitely did do that
yeah.
too.
And she lied to him too, which
Yeah,
is to like actually like get to see the Joker and all that. Which
right. That is also true. Yeah, she like lied about his background and like stuff. I don't know. It's hard. Like I don't think it would necessarily be the same exact movie without her, but she also doesn't contribute much. I don't know. Plus, like, I mean,
it just felt like they were so scared to put Lady Gaga
yeah,
as like a lead like acting role when she clearly has done it in A Star Is Born
yeah,
and American Horror Story. Like she's got the chops, she's got the resume to do it. Like let Lady Gaga like
yeah.
actually go through with it.
Because when they're together too, those were also some great scenes. Other than when
Hmm.
they were fucking singing, but like the dynamic between the two of them was very good. Like,
I
yeah.
Here's my hot take. I don't think it was good at all.
Oh, you didn't like any of them being
Like
together?
I thought there was zero chemistry between the way Joaquin was written and Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there was chemistry. I didn't think like I was never like, oh yeah, like yeah, I could see this. It was more like just I liked the tension that I guess came with
Mm,
when she was in the scene with Joker because she's always pushing him to be the Joker, and those scenes were always good. But yes, I would agree. I never saw any of the romance to
Like
it.
like when they're showing like the sex scene in like the cell, like
Yeah,
what the
that
fuck
was so
is
weird.
that?
Like I get it's like important to
Yeah,
the plot to know that they had sex because like it's a big thing that she's pregnant later and like and then she just like leaves him high and dry at the end of the movie. But like I don't know, the sex scene itself was like so I don't know, guttural, like
it
I
just
don't
felt
know.
awkward. It
Yeah,
felt like they were forced to have sex.
true. And yeah, it was weird. Very not something I wanted to watch.
No, like ugh, it it just felt so unnatural, and like I said, it just comes down to chemistry too.
Yeah.
Um, I guess we'll talk about like a really good part of this movie. Okay, when Puddles takes the stand, it it really elevates this movie,
Yeah.
and I was just like crossing my fingers, like please no musical number, please no music, and they didn't do it, which was great,
Yep.
and they nailed it to a T. You really got to see like the like as Joker as kind of just putting on like talking in circles,
Yeah, he's just like putting on like a performance
and
and
like you
like
can see Arthur slowly coming out,
yeah,
and when he's like no more questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then like because like at the beginning too, and he's just trying to like get around with his name. He's like, "Am I supposed to believe your name is Gary Puddles?" And like stuff like that. But the emotion that you get out of Gary too about how like
Mm-hmm.
this guy who was the only one at their work that never like made fun of him ended up being like a psychopath, and how that affects Gary too. Like, yeah, great scene altogether, and like,
I may mention that this is the only callback to Joker 1 that actually hits
yeah,
because it's done right.
yeah, and it's impactful. Like you get to see the emotion on both actors. Like, and this is also probably the most Joker you get out of the movie.
Mm,
Everything else is very Joker light. Like this is like heavy Joker. Like, he's playing with Gary. He's like being like an asshole. He's putting on like a fake Southern lawyer accent.
yeah.
Um, and even though he doesn't really say anything, well, I guess like I don't remember if this was during the questioning of Gary or not, but basically when he was like he ranted that like the only time people ever like saw him was after he became the Joker, and he was basically like still after all this nobody cares about Arthur, they only care about Joker. I can't remember if that was when he was questioning Gary Puddles or not, but that was also a good scene because it kind of goes into what like the first Joker movie was about, how he was just like
Mm.
never seen by anybody until he was the Joker. um but yeah, overall, that was the one good scene in the movie, really. I mean, the best scene, not the one
Yeah,
good
yeah.
scene. Because there was like two or three others, but
And it's saying that like my expectations were super high going into this. Like we saw
yeah,
the reviews,
yeah,
and yeah, it's just it wasn't there. And I guess the last thing we can talk about is just the ending and how he just died.
yeah. And like, the callback that they did with the "you get what you fucking deserve," I don't really think it was earned.
No, not at all.
And it did not hit. And like, yeah, just such a lame way for the character to go out. I hate that Arthur Fleck just gave up and stopped being the Joker for one thing. Um,
And like also before that too, when like he's going through the streets that he ran in the Joker one,
yeah,
when he's running like towards
yeah,
the
yeah,
recognition and all that, and then like they really like shove it into your face when like the Joker fanboys are chasing after him,
yeah.
and
That
it's like okay, we get it,
right.
like you don't have to spell it out for us.
He's like regressing because
Yeah,
this was the path he took to become
yeah,
Joker. Now he's undoing it, but
and
it's really just not earned either.
no,
Because like when he regresses, it's so out of nowhere too. He like that prison rape thing happens to him, and he's like totally just beaten down. I guess that he just decides he doesn't want to be Joker anymore. But there was like no hints before that he didn't want to be Joker. Because like all throughout the whole movie, he's saying that he is Joker. Like people are telling him that Joker and Arthur are two separate like identities, but the whole time he's basically always like, "I am Joker. Like Joker is me."
yeah.
So I don't know. A little bit maybe more of like foreshadowing or like showing that he was losing the fantasy in Joker
Or
before.
if you're doing a music ballad, like Why? The only thing I'm thinking about is Muppet, or am I a Muppet, or am I a
Yeah,
man? But like, do something like that where
right.
like Harley is like dragging him like into
Yeah,
like the Joker
yeah,
like persona, and and just have like Arthur kind of like deflecting and be
yeah,
like, I am like I'm a good person when I'm just like this.
yeah. Or like even like if they did like a duet between Joker and Arthur Fleck, that would have been really interesting too. Like
Eminem,
yeah,
Eminem, Slim
Eminem and Slim
Shady,
Shady, yeah.
yeah.
Like that would be a really interesting thing to do. Kind of like a
Phantom of the Opera type beat.
yeah, like a tug of war of like morality, kind of.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Um, but yeah, ending of the movie when he just gets shanked to death. I know like people are like, oh, like the guy who kills him becomes the Joker because at the end of the movie, I don't know if you noticed, but like it's
Yeah,
blurry in the back. He's like cutting his face open to like make like the scars from like
yeah,
Heath Ledger's Joker. People are like, oh, like because people speculated in the first movie too that Arthur Fleck wasn't the Joker; he was just a Joker that kind of like inspired the Joker. And so that theory I feel like is solidified with this movie,
yeah,
but still just very lame. I don't know. I and like this is like a random like prisoner that you really only see like 3 or 4 times before the scene happens. He's not really given any personality other than that he's a psycho. Um, which I mean maybe that is his whole character, but
yeah. He literally just
yeah,
clapped.
all he did was like clap and watch the TV and stuff like that, and got pissed off when Arthur stopped being the Joker. So like, and then some people are like, "Oh, that was a great scene because it shows like the Joker becoming the Joker," and I was
No,
like,
it's
"No,
terrible.
it's so bad, so bad." Like the only good thing about that scene was that it was the ending of the movie.
For real.
Um, but yeah, positive notes: the Gary trial scene, the interview scene in the prison. Hmm,
That I mean, that's it for me.
yeah, I felt like there was one more, but I can't even think of it.
Um, if we want to be like, if we want to be nice, we can give the court scene where he's shooting everyone in the music note.
Yeah, we could throw that in there. It was entertaining at least, and like
Yeah,
showed kind of what was going on in his head. Plus, like, that's another time where you get to see the Joker finally.
I would say another thing too, like as far as like the musical numbers, I kind of like the Saturday Night Live thing they did, kind of with uh Harley and him
Yeah,
when they're talking to the audience. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, that was okay, cool.
yeah. Not
But
as bad as yeah,
but
not as bad as
that's
the
it.
others.
This movie was two pack of ass.
Yep.
Uh, glad you liked our little debrief.
And we mentioned it earlier how the first Joker was really grounded, like how the new Penguin show is. So go check out the first that new review that we put
Yeah.
up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, though, that's really all I have to say about this movie. Out of 10, probably giving this shit a 2.
A two. So I think this movie's probably better than Tarot. Shut up, Smitty. No, I'm just sorry. Uh,
He's hearing voices.
yeah. This movie, I just gotta give it better than
You
Tarot.
think this was better? I never saw Tarot, but that's
I
like
think it's
crazy to
better
me.
than Tarot.
That's so
I'd
fair.
give
I guess I never
I
saw.
give so I gave Tarot like a 3.5 just because of the tarot card horror like concept.
Right.
The concept of this movie's cool, but executed terribly. At least there was like at least it was done a little bit better, like execution wise, with Tarot. I'm gonna give this a 3.7 just so I can say it's better than Tarot.
Uh, they had like no, you know what? They had 2 good scenes, so I'm giving it a 2. Fuck it.
Yeah, and Joker one helps a lot. I know that it's kind of bad to do that, but I don't care. 3.7
It's
for
our
Joker for
review.
me.
Yeah, we'll rate it however we want to.
Would you give it?
2 out of 10.
All right, that's our thoughts. We out. Yeah.